Hello and welcome to SteveKnows. It's the weekly news update, and today we have some interesting news for the Quest Pro, and it's just games, and some shocking stories that I can't believe somebody did. Please join the Discord because I will drop a game key every time I upload a video, and also come for a chat, so enough chin wagging. We have a lot to go over. Let's get started. So the Quest Pro has not been on the market that long, but already a huge price cut is incoming right now from today, which usually signifies a few things: a lack of sales, a large release margin, and or improvements to the manufacturing process to cut costs massively. Either way, it means great news for those wanting to grab a bargain, as from today in the UK and the United States, there is a huge price cut on the Quest Pro. In the United States, you'll get a week's worth of sales, so from today to the 4th of February with a $400 saving. So that is a Quest Pro for $1,100. In the UK, we get the deal from today to the 11th of February, costing $1,300 for the Quest Pro. That's money you can now put on your heating. So don't purchase it from stores like Argos or Currys, buy it directly from Meta and you will get this great saving. But the real question is, should you buy the Pro? If you're wanting a PSVR headset with the features of the Pro, so the eye tracking, the face tracking, the great set of lenses, and a fantastic standalone ecosystem with the current state-of-the-art consumer productivity features, then of course now would be the best time to buy the Pro. But if you're looking to just buy the headset for gaming, the Quest 3 is around the corner and the Pico 4 is also much cheaper. And don't get me wrong, I do like the Pro, I use it all the time in my videos if you're on this channel often, but to spend that much money on it is just, I don't know. Moving on to Among Us VR. This was a beautiful surprise that Among Us had sold 1 million copies. I was genuinely shocked at these numbers. I didn't hear many people talking about this game, at least in the circles that I'm in, but I did expect it to do well, but that's incredibly well. More casual VR gamers or new folk, I suppose, would recognise such a huge franchise for a great price and be drawn to the purchase. Especially when friends also buy, so you sell to 2 friends, you sell to the entire group, I suppose. But because of this success, we get some great things: continued support within the game, bringing new maps, custom lobby settings, and even more VR related features coming soon. So here are some stats: 1 million copies sold, 122 countries are playing this title, over 4 million games played, over 44,000 matches per day, and over 89 million minutes played. That's crazy. Sounds kind of sus. Alright, this story's a little bit random, but I came across it and I just thought, why the heck would you do this to this person? So using virtual reality, someone was able to relive the terrible events that occurred in the early 1940s, and it made my stomach drop. Like, that's brutal. But it highlights the power of VR and also the immersive strength of this platform. But it was actually a showcase titled Triumph of Spirit to raise awareness of these events that were not actually that long ago, but this is just so savage. Now let's talk about a game from a studio you may have seen promoting a Wipeout-styled racing title called Omega Pilot. So the next title is called Presentiment, or is it Presentiment, or is it Presentiment? Hopefully we get some clarification on that, but I'm going to say Presentiment because you're present in time. Presentiment of Death is a game that combines 2 great things in VR. One is superhot's unique feature where time moves when you do, and the classic bow and arrow mechanic, which is a staple for the VR medium. This title is a PC VR game and it looks pretty decent. This is going to drop on the 1st of March, and stick around if you want to see more of this when it releases, because I may or may not have installed the game already. So the aim of the game is to eliminate the enemy robots with your bow and arrow, but something that will catch us is because time moves when you do, and it's a bow and arrow, it's kind of like a manual medium or a manual weapon. You have to pull back the bow, that is movement, and that's going to cause time to move, so you have to be really on your toes when you're being surrounded by the enemy. Because in Superhot, where things become like a trigger pull, just that little finger going pew 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 pew, we now have a much larger movement. The visuals look stunning as well. The studio always seem to make very buttery and stylized visuals, so no complaints there. And it's also been promised for this game to come to all platforms. So Quest gamers, stay tuned. You may see this game on our headset sooner rather than later. We have more new games coming soon to the Quest and the PSVR platform. This is an existing title from Not Games. This is an indie studio that will be releasing not for broadcast. This March for virtual reality. In this title, you will control the media that the people see to control the population. This is set in the 80s in Britain, so it's a very fitting title at a very fitting time right now, as this country is being awakened by its political prison and its control over the media, so it's a very scary experience in some ways. So you'll be putting in VHS tapes, changing camera angles, running adverts from your sponsorships, trying to keep up the ratings of your broadcast, even when things around you start to go wrong. And I wonder if this means you can put production management on your CV. Seems fair. So this one's about the PlayStation VR 2. We already know it's going to get the sweet feature of eye tracking, and a studio of one of the launch titles has released some gameplay, and it reminds me of Weeping Angels. So the game is called Switchback. They've shared a moment where you cannot blink. The eye tracking is going to watch your eyes, and when you blink, these creatures are going to change their positions, multiply, and get even closer to you. Now that is one way for you to play a scary title. You are made to watch, because often, I'll admit it, when I'm playing something scary, there are moments where I just close my eyes and just run forward. A snippet on Rec Room now, a brilliant, free, community-driven application that has nearly everything except, much like Meta, legs. Recently, Sean Whiting announced a new team called the Avatar Initiative, whose goal it is to bring full-body avatars to Rec Room. So that includes arms, legs, and even fingers. Bye-bye mittens. This isn't a change that will be forced upon you either. You have the option to be full-body, or as they called it, the floating bean, which I love. It's such a bean. I did crack up when I read that bit. And all existing outfits, accessories, and items will be supported for both of these avatars, so no content will be lost. And I like the look of this. It seems like it might give the game a less childish vibe to the experience and improve the presence you feel in VR, which is always a win. Hitman 3! So Hitman 3, the VR game of the year, don't mention it to me again, what? Has received an update to bring the Hitman series into a single monolithic Hitman bundle called Hitman World of Assassination. So if you already owned the game, Hitman 3, you will now be able to play all three titles in virtual reality. The price of the bundle, if you don't own it, has gone up though by $10 to cater for the 2 additional games included. Although personally I think the game has had its time, 1's had its time, 2's had its time, so has 3. So they should have just kept it at the normal price and offered the big bundle for $60. But if you're trying to enjoy this in VR, it will be using the same janky mechanics seen in the first release, where it's a PlayStation VR experience brought to PC VR without much consideration on how the PC VR platform interacts. But you will get a fully fledged campaign with great visuals, so if you were one of the folks that voted it for Game of the Year, you'll now have 2 more games of the year waiting for you. Just update your game and boot it up in VR. There are even more things releasing and things being updated, so let's just do some quick-fire news and run through them. First is Futu Class. If I'm saying that wrong, I do apologise. Will bring educational content in the form of a game where you can learn chemistry. An amazing way to learn, so you'll hold molecules in your hand, create and move atom structures. You can poke the periodic table and see in 3D the molecular structure of elements and compounds. That's pretty cool. Well, maybe cool is not the right word, but it's good. Walkabout Mini Golf once again dropping more themed content, and this time it's Atlantis, the city, that got flooded and it's supposedly now underwater, but Discovery say otherwise, but that's for another time. This, I think, for $3.99, this DLC, in my opinion, is one of the most stunning environments yet for this game. It's got these lovely glowing parts, animals floating past, the tranquility of water, but thankfully the balls are not affected by the ocean's current, which is definitely a sentence I never thought I would ever say. Now, Silhouette, which just dropped on the Quest platform, is a hand-tracking puzzler, a pretty novel idea to mix something I did as a child with my lamp turned on because there were not smart devices at that point in time, don't judge. So I used to do finger puppets against the wall with my lamp light to sleep, but they've brought that into a VR experience and created a puzzler. So you will use hand gestures and poses to complete puzzles. And with the addition of hand tracking 2.1, this is the perfect time to drop this kind of game. And what I like about it is that your hands are out in front of you, so you won't have much problem with occlusion due to the start of the game. And that is it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It's been games, and I think this week is a bit of a breath of fresh air. Instead of new tech, it's nice to see some software, but please also consider subscribing, especially if you've been here before. Help me live the dream and have a great week. Happy gaming, guys. Good day.